Hey YouTube, Michael Double X the Beast here. It's Sunday night, and today I was going through just looking at products that are coming out, have been announced, or ones that should be coming up. And when I do that, I like to look at the odds, the pack odds, and I'm really detailed when it comes to that sort of thing. I'm just kind of a nerd, and I like to look at it. So I thought I'll shoot a video on pack odds. We'll go through them in detail, and we're mainly going to be focused on why they're important, what purpose do they serve for the manufacturer to announce them or to choose not to in some situations. And we're going to look through them in detail and mainly looking at how you can use those numbers to make an educated guess on what you should get if you were to enter a break, if you're opening cases, or anything along those lines. And also, it's good for breakers. If you're hosting breaks yourself, then you kind of want to know what is expected out of these breaks. What can each one of my customers expect? And I looked around, I didn't see a whole lot of videos on pack odds, so I thought we'd go for this. If you wonder why I picked the product that I did, you'll see when I switch over to the spreadsheet. I picked 2022 finest flashbacks, and the reason I picked that, today I was looking, getting ready for 2023 finest flashbacks, and I was going to use this spreadsheet to be able to dump in and create me a new spreadsheet for odds. And I also picked this one specifically because it is a hobby only release, and it only has one packaging type. When you get into multiple packaging types, and I'm not going to go through that a lot on this video, but we'll talk about it. When you get into multiple packaging types, hobby, jumbo, retail mega boxes, retail, cello boxes, hanger packs, all these things, you have to almost create you a new sheet based on the odds on each one of those, and look through those. And if they don't have a 1 of 1 in them, it makes it really tough, or an exclusive just for that packaging type. It starts making it very tough to figure out the odds and how that works. So what I suggest and what I typically do is, if I'm entering let's say 2023 Tops Update just came out. If I'm entering a break like that, and let's say I enter a 10 case break, 5 of them are jumbo, 5 of them are hobby, I will make 2 separate sheets based on the odds, and I will treat those as 2 separate breaks. A 5 case jumbo, a 5 case hobby, and I will come up with what I should expect to pull on each one. That's just how I do it. But for today's sheet and for time's sake, I'm going to stick to finest flashbacks, to where it's just the hobby only release. You can take any odds and product and things like that and apply it to what we're going to go through today. So that's why I picked this product. And without any more babbling by me here, I'm going to share my screen and we'll go through the sheet that I built, just so we can talk about pack odds and why they're important. So let me get this shared. Okay, so as you can see here, I've already built this. I had this built from last year, and I went back through it earlier and just changed the structure, just because it's now where I can share it on screen here a little bit easier. And first off, I'm not trying to teach anybody how to do Excel or Google Sheets. Build them the way you want. This is just how I do it, quick and easy. Some products I will do them a little bit different. What I do is I put my product up here at the top. I then put how many cards per box. So I take the packs and multiply it times how many packs, how many cards per pack there are, to get the total number of cards. I like all of this information at the very top, what I can expect on a per box and per pack basis. And then I take all this information, and you'll see where this ties in a minute. I want to know how many total packs there are, total boxes, total cards. So how do you get total packs, total boxes, total cards. So the easiest way, the fastest way to do it is you just simply find your superfractor, or in this situation, whatever one of one it is. I like to do it from the base set. So here's my base set right here. You just simply take the number of packs, which is pack odds, which is 1 in 1,285. I also make another column here, by the way, with taking out the ratio part of this and just the packs, and I'll show you why later. But you take that 1,285 and you multiply it times your total number of cards in the set. So, in this situation, you would take this times 200. This gives you the total number of packs, okay? Which is what I did up here to get that. You can see my formula here. From there, you're going to take your total packs, divide it by your number of packs per box. That will get you your total boxes. Once you get total boxes, you've got 90 cards per box. Simple math tells you, you take number of boxes times cards in the box and gives you your total cards. So, you look at this, over 12 million, almost 13 million cards went into last year's finest flashbacks, 2022 finest flashbacks overall. So that's how I fill out the top part here. And then what I do is I freeze these panes so that no matter what I'm doing when I'm scrolling, it's right here. I can see it. So let's talk through the different types of cards in this example. And you could apply this to any other set. You could use Topps Update, you could use Topps Chrome, whatever. It doesn't really matter. And you could take the base cards, any short prints, like Finest Flashbacks has 20 cards every year that are like an extended base and they're short prints. Any of the inserts, the autos, these types of things. This one's a good example, and I also know the reason why I picked it. It doesn't have a lot of different things for me to have to show. But let's run through this really quick, and I'll show you. And sometimes what I'll do too is like I mentioned earlier, I'll take this number, just put it over here. You could hide this column here if you don't just want it showing, because it's not really, all it's doing is helping you with the math. It's not really serving a purpose. Just taking the ratio out so you can use this as your multiplier on a lot of these things. But we'll run through this. So the refractors, and I intentionally didn't put the serial number of the refractors. They're not serial numbered, or the print run, excuse me. So if 18 odds, so you know that you're going to get one per box, okay? So you could do this a couple different ways, but one way you could do it, you could take your total number of boxes and you could divide this by your checklist, which is 200 cards, and you come up with basically 71 copies, okay, of each one of these refractors per player. So they're pretty limited. So your goals are number to 50. Your base refractors are a little bit more rare. Half over again is rare, but you can. That's also another way of doing it. If there are non-serial numbered cards that are short prints or things like that do have a stated odds, it's very easy to figure out how many of them there are. Very simple. So I'm going to run through this. So gold refractors, you can expect 0.72 per box, prism 0.486, so on and so forth. This is on a per box odds. And what I do on base typically is I will run through these. And then what I want to know is how many base card parallels I can expect per box. And that includes the refractors, which are one per box. So you're almost three. You're almost going to get three parallels per box of the base set, and that's totaling up your sum of all of these here. And that gives you a rough idea of how many you're going to pull. Well, then you also know you're going to get one short print per box. If, like I said, just using this one example, if it's a one per box type of thing, you're going to get one short print. And And then here's your odds on your SP, your 201 through 220. So you're going to get 0.53 parallels on top of that. So when you add all this together, you're going to get 3.5 base and SP parallels per box on average. And from the breaks I watched, that's pretty close. I watched 1 million breaks last year. So then let's go down. That kind of takes care of the base set and the short prints. And then you're going to look at the autos, and the autos in finest flashbacks are really tough, really tough to pull. And you can see that here. So the 1995 style, which is essentially the base autos in here, that's these right here. You've got, same one, the refractor, it's called a base, but it's a refractor. It's number 25. So when you look at all of these on what you should pull per box, you come up with 0.1599. So basically just, 0.16. And then you look at the inserts, flamethrowers, and the Power Kings. These autos are obviously, the odds show you they're just insanely difficult to pull. I mean, superfractors at 1 in 81,000, very tough. So, but you still have to account for them. So your autos per box are 0.1668. Very difficult. So if you want to know your total hits per box, you have to add the base parallels, the short print parallels, and the autos. Okay. And this comes up to 3.68. You take 3.68, 90 minus 3.68, minus this number, and you get 85.3. This tells you how many base cards you're going to get out of these 90. Okay. And it's important because if you're building sets or you're doing a big break or something like that, you want to know how many parallels you get, but you also want to know how many base cards you're going to get. And this is how many boxes you would need to build a non-SP set. Okay. So if you didn't worry about these SP cards here, you just worried about this 1 through 200, it's pretty easy odds on the short prints. There's 20 of them, get one per box. You need to open 20 boxes to get those. But you need to open basically 2 1/3 boxes should get you a base set, by these odds in this example. And then one thing I didn't do here, but I'm going to do, I it's intentionally saving. Another thing is you want to know how many base cards there are of each one. You could go through and, there's 12 million, there's 12 million cards total. If you want to know how many base cards there are of each one, you could backwards calculate to know exactly how many base cards there are. It's a lot, but you'd have to figure out how many cards there are of the short prints, how many autos there are total, which is, these are all serial numbered, so that would be easy to do. You could run through and take out all of these numbers out of your total cards, get that number left. If that was 11 million, you would take 11 million, divide it by your base set, which would, it's going to be an astronomical number of base cards. But you can do those things. But that's why these are important. If you want to know how truly scarce or rare something is, or how difficult it was to pull, you need to run through and look at the numbers, and you look at them in detail. Okay, so I'm going to slide over here. And I built this specifically thinking of a player break in mind, right? So this is adjustable. I can change this. I've got it set up for 40. So if I had Mike Trout in a break, and it was a player break, and there were 40 boxes, and let's say they're 10 box cases, four case break. Going off of the odds, same odds we had over on the left, per box and that sort of thing. This is what we would expect to hit for that Mike Trout spot. We would expect 17 base cards. You start running down. We have a 20% chance of getting a refractor, 14% chance of getting a gold refractor, and then you start getting down under 10%, all the way down to virtually no chance. It's you either pull it or you don't type of thing. And I didn't run this out for the autos. I just did it for the short prints and for these. But let's say you were getting into a, I don't know, a 100 case break, that, let's say Houdini was doing an auction on blowout and you were doing a 100 case break, and these were 10 box cases. So it's going to be 1,000 boxes. Let's say this was a big break. This is what you would expect to pull. And this also matters. The more breaks you do, if you don't hit your players, your odds would start to swing more in your favor. There's some things there that you can't calculate just with the numbers that are factors. But in general, this is what you would expect to pull. So if you got into a 100 case break, you could expect somewhere around these numbers. You could then come in after you got your cards in and the break was done. You could come in over here and put in what you actually received over here and have a numerical value to tell you whether it was success or not. Because most of the time, we all just kind of go on gut feel, right? Oh yeah, I did pretty good. And then you may go back in here and look after the fact. You may have hit one of these bigger cards, like a protector refractor in this instance. You hit one of these, and maybe you only hit 4 of these. Well, most of us would rather take the rare card and maybe didn't hit the odds on the other one. But it gives you an idea of somewhere that you came in. There are some factors with pack odds, though, that we can't account for numerically or easily numerically. One, like I said, is knowing what's already been pulled. Okay, so if let's say there was a break and somebody pulled, I don't know, let's say somebody pulled 4 of the 15 rose gold refractors. Okay, 4 of them are out of circulation. There's only 11 left, and well, your pack odds are going to go down. There's less of those to be able to be pulled, but you can't really account for that. It's tough. It makes it tough. But on the other hand, let's say the product's been out for a month, and you've seen a bunch of other players rose gold refractors get pulled, but your player hasn't been pulled. Well, your odds are going to be better. The math may not show it, but in reality, your chances are probably better, right? So that's one thing you cannot account for with pack odds. The second thing, and one of the most difficult things, is the fact that we know manufacturers hold some cards as replacements, as they should, right? So, some of these really rare cards are red refractors, super refractors. Obviously, you hope that all of those are in packed out and go into the product. But you start getting into your number to 10s, number to 20s, 50s, so on and so forth. You don't know how many of them they're holding back. Is it 5? Is it 10% of them? You don't really know. So most of the time, the expectations you see here, it's probably actually a little bit worse than that. It's probably a little bit tougher because there are going to be some cards that never get put into boxes. It's just the way it is. And I understand why they do it, but you can't really account for it. You just have to come up with as close a number as you can and work from that. And then one other thing of note that most of everything here that I'm talking about is specific to Topps products. Panini does not post their pack odds. So why is that important that a company does or doesn't? It is providing information to the consumer when they provide it, and it kind of holds those companies accountable to ensure that the right number of cards makes it into the product, that the print runs are known. They don't release the print runs themselves. They know, though, that people are going to take the print run numbers and do exactly what I just did. Just calculate it backwards to figure out how many packs there are and how many boxes there are. And, if this was a product that had cases, you could figure out how many cases there are. Okay. They know that. But then on the flip side, a company like Panini that does not release this information, it sometimes can allow them to overinflate production numbers, and nobody will ever know. So that transparency from a consumer perspective, as I am, and most anybody would watch this would be, it is very important. These print numbers, print run numbers, and things like that, pack odds, they are very important. They are a very important part of the hobby that doesn't really get talked about enough, in my opinion. Um, but anyways, that's all I had for tonight. I know it's just a quick run through just to give you an idea of how pack odds work, how you can use the numbers to look into information. And like I said, I mainly geared this towards, people who are buying into breaks, but you could do the exact same thing if you were busting boxes yourselves, if you were selling boxes or cases or whatever, or if you're the one doing a group break. You can go in here and figure out exactly, hey, guys, here's what you should expect. Now that's a dangerous road. What if they don't get that? What if somebody else gets double? Right? There's some things there, but it just gives people an idea of here's what to expect. And that's really all it is. That's all that print runs and pack odds are. That's it. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video tonight. And if you have any questions on it, just leave a comment, and I will definitely help you out. Thanks for watching.